Well, welcome to the wonderful world of bourbon. This is episode 2, and we have too many bourbons to talk about. We're going to show you 5 top shelf bourbons that we found recently. We're going to get you to help us find that Augusta Buckner's 10 that we're looking for. We've got a full review on this Augusta Old Route 8, and it is absolutely amazing. We got lots of new bottles to show you in our Bourbon Recon segment. And come along with us for a special feature. We're doing a barrel pick with McFarland 400 at the Big Creek Distilling Company. And of course, our Bourbon of the Week. What is our Bourbon of the Week? And last but not least, we're going to talk about the so-called Bourbon Bust. This Bourbon Boom that is over? Join us. Well, in tonight's Bourbon Haul, we've got several bourbons that were carryovers from our last show that we couldn't fit in, and a few new ones. One of them we talked about quite a bit, and that was this Augusta Distillery Old Route 8. This is a cask strength single barrel. I've been seeing it in the North Georgia area, and having that I've tasted it before and put it in a blind, I was really happy to see this finally here. And in fact, we're going to do a full review on it probably tonight, if we can fit it in. Of course we can fit it in. Next was a bottle that I told you about in the last show that we had ordered, and it came in. This is the Nashville Barrel straight bourbon whiskey, aged 7 years. This was number 4 on Fred Minnick's Top 100 for 2023. We're going to put it up against Fred's number 4 for this year, another Nashville Barrel, the Nash Tucky, in fact, and we're going to see which one is better, 2023 or 2024. That's coming soon. That'll probably be a Which Whiskey episode. Next up, I was happy to find this because I've been passing on it forever, and that was the 1792 12-year. And the reason I was passing on it because it's always overpriced. But this was part of a end-of-the-year loyalty program, so I was able to get this pretty much right at list price. Happy to do it, and I finally have I wouldn't say a complete set of 1792, but it's getting pretty complete. And we're going to be putting that in probably a 12-year blind pretty soon. So very happy to have that. Next up, another one we were hunting and found, the Woodford Reserve Batch Proof. Now this is I believe the 2024 version. It doesn't really say the release on it, but I think it is 2024. 121.2 proof. We've got the 23 version and really liked it and wanted a companion to it to see which one is better, last year's or the 23 version. So we're going to be doing a Which Whiskey on that pretty soon. Then last but not least, a kind of mystery prize. And you go like, what's in the bag, Mike? Well, it says Sprayberry Bottle Shop and then an X and then HH12. When we were at Short Barrel to do the barrel picks, they let us know that they had a barrel of Heaven Hill and one to offer to us, a Heaven Hill 12-year. So they can't put it in Heaven Hill's bottle because it's no longer Heaven Hill, it's Short Barrel. But it is Heaven Hill in a Short Barrel jacket. So this Heaven Hill 12-year, we got to try at that barrel pick, we thought was fabulous. And if you've seen some of the Heaven Hills out there, like the ones from World Whiskey Society, they can be very, very pricey. I'm talking $300. I didn't pay $300 for that, not anywhere close. So we're going to put that in a blind with other 12-year-old bourbons and see, does this Heaven Hill really stand out? I think it might. So this is our Bourbon Haul for this week. Okay, well, it's time for On the Hunt. What am I hunting? Not as much as you would think, just because I still have a glut of bottles left over from the end of year to get to as far as reviews, blinds, Which Whiskey Wednesdays and so forth. But I do have a few that I put out there that I might like to find and you might be able to help me with. First is this K-Luke Toasted Barrel. Now, if you watched the a recent Which Whiskey Wednesday, you can't say that real fast either. If you watched my most recent one, you know this was in a blind, and I think I'd like to try to find the toasted version of the K-Luke. This one was batch 2 at 118.2 proof. I think batch 3 is out. I seem to remember seeing something about batch 3. So that's number 1 on my list. Number 2 would be a bourbon, a blended bourbon. You've probably not seen this show. I'm just thinking of scheduling here. We did a Which Whiskey Wednesday with 2 Nashville barrels, the Nash Tucky and the 7-year small batch. I ordered the 7-year small batch. My friend Daniel ordered the Nash Tucky. We did a review of both, or kind of a competition between the two. And I like the Nash Tucky so much that I want to get that. I mean, I love both of them. And I won't tell you which one won, but I want to get the other one too. So the Nash Tucky, which was Fred Minnick's, I think, number 4 in this top 100 of 2024. I know I can order that directly from Nashville Barrel, but I'm going to kind of look around and see if I can find that Nash Tucky so I don't have to pay the shipping. But otherwise, I know where I can get it, but not in a big hurry for that one either. Next one, I believe it's in the show, the segment after this, we do a Give Me 5, and tonight's show was going to be the Augusta Distillery Route 8, which is their 8-year bourbon. So I'm not hunting for that, but the next version of it, the next older version of it, they call the Buckner's 10. That was number 3 on my list. And last on my list, this was also on Fred Minnick's Top 100. The Larceny Barrel Proof C924. Now, I think the C924 rated a lot higher than the other Larcenys on his list. Been a while since I've didn't buy any Larcenys last year. In fact, the last version of Larceny I think I have is the C923. So I'm skipping a whole year now to the C924. So that is the 4 bourbons that I'm hunting for. Well, on tonight's Give Me 5 review, we're going to talk about the Old Route 8 from Augusta Distillery. You know, I have been hunting this for a little while. I found it locally. It's a little pricey, so I was a little hesitant to pull the trigger on it, but I've tasted it before. I know I like it. It's been a little while, so I pulled the trigger, and here we are tonight going to talk about it. So availability. I've seen this in at least 3 bottle shops in North Georgia now, so I would say availability is probably limited. I don't know what distributor puts out Old Route 8, but they are showing up in North Georgia, and they have been available for a while in other parts of the country. Why, I got a sample. So I was happy to see it here. Aroma. Well, that is like the first thing I think about when I smell that is kind of like a latte, a mocha, espresso. That's it, espresso. I get like chocolate and coffee and maple syrup. Wow. Some baking spices, maybe some vanilla, a little bit of cinnamon, but mostly a kind of a coffee liqueur coming right out of this glass. Cheers. Outstanding. Damn. That is tasty. It is so rich and so thick. That mocha and that coffee and chocolate, and maple goodness comes right across. Definitely with some vanilla coming with it and some light baking spices. But that is so freaking rich. Oh my God, that is good. I gotta take another taste. I don't know what to say. This could be the best bourbon I've had all day. I'm messing with you. Seriously, this is the best bourbon I've had all week and maybe longer. I can't remember things more than a week, so what can I say? That is so good. You know, I remember this being good and I really liking it and winning in a blind, but it was a sample. I had 2 ounces. So, you know, I don't always get to really enjoy a bourbon sometimes when I have so little of it because like, oh, I want to come back to it and it's already gone. I remember it being good. I don't remember it being this good. I can't wait to see what it tastes like after it's opened up a little while because I just popped the cork tonight. Wow. 126.4 proof and it doesn't drink anywhere close to it. I've got no ethanol burn. I've got no ethanol flavors. I didn't even pick up anything in the aroma that hinted that this was a high proof bourbon, a cask strength bourbon. 8 years. I don't know what barrels they've been putting them in, but man, this is bottle 93 of barrel 74. I got this up in Cumming. And like I said, I've seen it in several shops in North Georgia, so I know it's available in my area. Wow. And we're over time. So value, well, I'll tell you this. Yeah, I paid $109 for it. And would I pay for it again? I will. And I'm going to because I'm going to get a backup of this shit. That is crazy good. Crazy good. I know and this is really my first bourbon of the night. Imagine what I get going later. Wow. That flavor is so intense. You would think it was much older. You would think it would be from maybe a better known distillery. But no, and keep going no, because you don't need any of that. All you need is this. Wow. So we don't give scores anymore on that, but I will tell you that this is not only a buy, I'm saying it's a must buy. And once you try it, I'm saying you're going to want a backup. So, wow. This is an absolutely outstanding bourbon whiskey. So if you have it in your area, I'm saying, what are you waiting for? Go get it. So we hope you liked this video. We'll comment and share. And come back next time for another Give Me 5. Cheers. Okay, for our probably most popular segment, Bourbon Recon. What are we seeing in the stores that is new and interesting? So I was up in Duluth the other day, and I saw these 2 bottles here called Kosher. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. The Kosher collection from World Whiskey Society, a 10-year and a 6-year. The 10-year is finished in sherry and Madeira barrels. The 6-year is finished in sherry Oloroso barrels. And what I thought was interesting, get this. Let me go to the I went to World Whiskey to look. What is this about? This Kosher collection. And it says, and I quote, "The Kosher collection contains our feminine flavor profile favorites." Yeah, I said that right. These luxurious bottles feature rich, creamy perfection for a girl's night out for enhancing the appeal of a home bar, end quote. This was, like I said, up in Duluth. Also in Duluth, I'm saying, look at all those Four Roses single barrels, OESK, OESO, and the OBSF. I knew there were three out. I wasn't sure which. And then, of course, the single barrel OBSV, is it? Anyways, this is a great time if you're a Four Roses fan because you can get these at $45 and not have to drink cask strength and not have to buy that tasting kit to get them. The OESK and the OESO are both good bourbons. I can't remember which one I like best, but I'm thinking it was the OESO, but I'm going to look that up. I've got a list somewhere, and I'm going to go down and get the one that I like best. Red Line Elements, and this is new. I've never seen this one before. Straight bourbon whiskey finished in Mongolian oak. 108 proof. $90. I know nothing about Mongolian oak. When I was in over Barrett Pavilion, what's that got to be? Total Wine over off Barrett Parkway. Medley Brothers, a new lineup I haven't seen. Now, maybe it's been there a while and just haven't noticed, but Medley Brothers, what I thought was interesting, this is the Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. It's 102 proof, and it's $25.49. I don't know how you could go wrong with that. You make it a cocktail bourbon. But a Kentucky bourbon whiskey at 102 proof, it might be worth trying. And then, I've always been a fan of RD1. Here we got, we're still over at Total Wine, and like I'm seeing a gift pack. Why didn't you guys have this out at Christmas time? I know I went over there and didn't see it. If it was there, it was hidden. But this is great. RD1, it's 3 200 milliliter bottles, and you get the French oak, the Brazilian amburana, and the oak and maple. Now, I own the French oak and the oak and maple, and they're wonderful. And some people say that the Brazilian amburana is the best in the business. I would argue with that, but it is good. I have tasted it. So if you got someone that's experimenting with, or maybe wanted to try RD1 and doesn't know which one, this is what to get them. Cream of Kentucky, I saw that down in Florida. I've seen it in Tennessee. Hadn't seen it in Georgia, so I was in Ringgold at this point, yeah. And happy to see that. It is a $100 bottle, but I've heard good things about the Cream of Kentucky, so when I actually save some money, I may go up and get that one. Jimmy Red. I had been seeing Jimmy Red for a while, and I kept like, no, I always find something else I like. Here I am up in Ringgold, just like 100 yards south of the Tennessee line, and the proprietor lets me try the one on the left, the regular straight bourbon whiskey, and this is a red corn mash. I thought it was pretty damn good, and at, what was it, $60? I pulled the trigger on that one. Baker 7. Now, there's nothing unusual about Baker 7, but I don't see their high rye in a lot of places. Now, it's a little bit more. It was $80 versus $63. But if you're a high rye fan of Beam, good Beam, that might be worth your dollars. Hogsworth. What the hell is this, Mike? I know a little bit about this. This is cool. This guy here, the owner of Hogsworth, used to own Whistle Pig, sold it. And he's now developed this bourbon whiskey finished in Armagnac. It's like 9.4 years, $47. I tasted it. It's pretty good. I didn't pull the trigger on it at that time because I was looking at other things. But what's interesting, he got in trouble for not only the picture of the hog, because remember, he sold Whistle Pig to somebody else. On the back, he tells everybody how he used to own Whistle Pig. Apparently, he's not supposed to do that either. So look for this label to change in the near future. But if you come across it, it's pretty good. If you like Armagnac like I do, I think it's worth having on your bar. If nothing else, it's a good conversation piece. Ingram River Aged. This was also up in East Ridge. So we've gone from Ringgold now to East Ridge when we were up in Tennessee a couple weeks ago. And Fred Minnick had this way high up on his list. His was the 2024 flagship. This was the 2023. I thought that's good enough for me. I pulled the trigger on that. While I was there, I saw the Elmer T. Lee for, I think it was $200. It was a hard pass. I've tried the Elmer T. Lee. Would love to have it on my bar as a collector, but I ain't paying $200 for it. The Woodford Double Oat. Now, that was like over $200. And I would have bought that because I've heard really good things about that. But I just got a Woodford Reserve Batch Proof, the 2024. And I thought, like, I didn't even open that yet. And here I'm going to get another limited release Woodford. So I just said, no, I'll pass on it. Maybe I can find it at a little better price. But it is available, and I could have just picked it up and checked out with it. No, reward system or anything else. And there was a Knob Creek 12. I thought about getting the Knob Creek 12, but I got backups of that already. And then this Rare Hair. This is like the second place I've seen this. 7-year blended bourbon whiskey finished with French oak staves. $80. I know nothing about it, but I thought it was worth mentioning. And then this new company here, this Spirits and French Lick. I'm up at a different shop in East Ridge. And it looks like there's 3 different versions here. And selected by Ajax Turner. I don't know who that is. But it's a straight corn whiskey blended with oats. And then a bourbon, an Indiana straight bourbon whiskey. Well, we know Indiana, who that's probably is. And then Ezra Brooks, Stave Finish Collection. I think Ezra Brooks is pretty good. It's not great, but this is a toasted Ezra Brooks. I'm going to have to get a sample of that. I thought this Doc Swinson's was really interesting because I like a lot of the exploratory cast that Doc Swinson does. Gariana Oak. I found this in Rome, Georgia. I think it was either, I don't know, 79 or 89. I don't think it was $100. I think it was under $100. And I hadn't taken it down so I could take a picture of it. A lot of information on there. Doc Swinson does some good stuff with their exploratory stuff. I don't like some of the just run-of-the-mill, but some of their exploratory stuff can be really good. But I'm going to have to find out more about that. And then Nulu. Well, what I thought was interesting about the Nulu, this is another experimental, and their experimental stuff is always pricey. Toasted and honey barrels. That sounds delicious, but at $135, I'm going to have to get a taste of that first. And then what's interesting here, this is a short barrel at Rome Liquor and Tobacco. And you see you see the bee's knees, you see the aged 9 years, and single barrel, and I think that's probably the double oaked. They already sold out of the Sap Squatch, which was their maple. But I got to taste this aged 9 years in cognac barrels. It's hazmat at 140 point something proof, 140.7. Yeah, I pulled the trigger on that one. And in fact, there's by the time you see this, there's a 2-minute Monday review of it. You should watch it. That's really some good stuff. But this may be the only place in the entire planet you can find this. And then here's a new one I'm seeing. Old Hickory Great American Bourbon. Okay. $22.99. Damn. Right next to the Wild Turkey and the Kentucky 10. That's going to be a hard choice for me. I don't know that I'd buy any of them. So that's what we're seeing this week in Bourbon Recon. Today we're at Big Creek Distillery in Dahlonega, Georgia. Let's go inside and do a barrel pick with McFarland 400 Wine and Spirits.
a 750-gallon what's called a hybrid still. It's a pot still basically with some plate for further rectification up above it. We're using, we primarily make a wheated bourbon. We're making some different things right now as well, but we primarily make a wheated bourbon. We're using heritage corn. We use a yellow corn called Wapsie Valley. We use a red corn called Penny Red. And everything in here we make. The setup is we have a 500-gallon cooker over there, and our fermenters right here are also 500 gallons. So they're really set up to cook a 500-gallon cook, and then we do a 500-gallon strip of that. So that's our first distillation. We did collect all of that, and then after 3 days of that, so we do 3 cooks, 3 fermentations, 3 strips. We then have enough what we call low lines to fill our 750-gallon still up. And then we do our spirit one in there, and that's when we make our cuts on the 750.
Honestly, the smell is
Like
not
how
much
one
different than the
smells.
small batch.
Two smells like nothing.
True.
One
doesn't smell to it. 2 does not.
Nail polish.
Is it?
More than one. Yeah, I'm supposed to.
Yeah, not a fan of the aroma on number 2.
No, not a fan of it.
I mean, let's not be so strong. Not a fan. Prefer.
I can definitely feel the wheat there. So you should be enjoying it with your passion for wheated stuff.
Passion for wheat.
Better right here. Thanks, buddy. Have a ride.
Very similar to the small batch, just groovier.
Three's got straight. I started with a weeded, which is the WSR. Like that's just what I started with.
If you said grow into, I grow into the single barrel of Benchmark, actually.
Really? Okay.
It's
I tried it recently and I was not impressed. I think they kind of
it
dropped the
depends.
ball.
Yeah,
You gotta
yeah,
get lucky on the bottle, I think.
Let's blend.
Like bottle and bond, I like,
Yeah.
but single barrel, you sometimes get
I think
lucky,
you don't know.
sometimes
Could be
you
good,
don't.
could be bad. Yeah. I think you're right there.
It smells
But
better than the
price-wise,
first time I
they're
smelled it.
awesome.
It's hard to beat, especially if you mix it with it. You might as well just have that.
Yeah. So in this selection, I'm going for
Which one
number
you
2.
like?
I haven't had this one yet. I actually didn't mind that. I think I'm with
June 6th is barrel 3.
Yeah, both of them. Oh, okay. My bad. Yep, I'm reading. Never mind, I'm reading the wrong one.
Good job, Ray.
So barrel. Yeah, so this one is with the dot. So with the dot. Because this is dirty. So it's a
Hold on, with the dot was 1 or 3?
3. Yep. So it's a Kelvin barrel, and it's all free, and it's 75% corn, 15% 10% wheat, 10% barley. Entry proof was 122.77, and the proof now is 132.52. So, and then
You take 7.
barrel 1 is barrel 167.
I think you gotta do something.
It was barreled on July 28th, 2016. Age statement is 7.7. In Rick House G29, so that's a lower in our Rick House. And then it's in a Kelvin Char 3 as well. And same mash bill. Entry proof 121.84, and the proof now is 129.58.
Well, now we're to our Bourbon of the Week segment. If you've been watching the channel recently, you know that I did a Which Whiskey Wednesday, a blind of 3 K-Luke blended bourbons. And the one that won was the Toasted. Now, this is a sample from Dave Vogel saying, I don't have any K-Lukes because they don't sell them in Georgia. According to everything I found out, I've never seen them in Georgia. Occasionally when I go up to Tennessee, I'll find one. But on my most recent trip, looking for the K-Luke, I only found a rye, not the blended bourbon, or in this case, the toasted bourbon. So if you're in Georgia and you know where one can be found, let me know. You don't have to send it to me. I'm not looking for any freebies. I'd like to find one, though, if you know where one is. So that kind of turned me back into like, oh man, I got to revisit some of my toasted bourbon whiskeys, and this is one here. I mean, that is just smoky, toasty, char goodness. This is a local distillery, local to the Atlanta area that I live in. I live north of Atlanta. And I'm a big fan of this distillery. I know all the 3 guys that own it, met them, consider them friends, been out to their place a couple of times. And you probably know what I'm talking about because I go on and on about their bourbons and their whiskeys. I got several of them on the shelf back here. So and this is something that's readily available. Like, oh, Mike, you're always telling me these things like the, what was it, the Sam Houston 15. You're never going to find that. Well, that could be true. The Sam Houston 15 is almost impossible to find anymore. This one is not. This one is not in every state, in every locale, but it is readily available, and I believe you can buy it online through different online retailers. And what would that bourbon be? Voila! Crown Royal bag. Short barrel. This is their toasted small batch. Basically this is a $50, $60 bottle of bourbon, depending on where you shop. It's not real expensive, but man, is it good. Now this one is 94 proof, so it's not, if you don't like bourbons that are hot, this is not hot. This is a really good proof. It's a really good sipper. That toasted goodness makes it a little bit sweet, a little bit smoky, and it is one of my favorites in the toasted bourbon line. Cheers. Oh, that is just so good. You can enjoy that all night long. You don't even have to drink it fast, just little sips. It's got a long finish to it, and it's just very, very enjoyable. And this week, it is my Bourbon of the Week. Okay, well now for Mike's Soapbox, where I read your comments and give a little commentary of our own. But first, the comments. I'm going to go to our which K-Luke blended bourbon whiskey will I choose? We had several comments about that. Dave Vogelsang says, I enjoy the K-Luke line. I found a batch number 1 last year was pretty cool. Nice, Dave. Michael Bortner says, I have 9 different bottles of K-Luke and have enjoyed them all. Cheers, Mike. Well, that's interesting. I've only tried a couple of them, but I've liked every one I tried, especially that batch number 2. Mary S. says, I love K-Luke batch 10. And K-Luke Whiskey Company, the actual people that make K-Luke, says, cheers and thanks for sharing how much you enjoy our products. That Toasted Barrel Bourbon Batch 2 won a double gold medal with a score of 99 points, then went on to win Special Barrel Finished Bourbon of the Year 2024 from the San Francisco World Spirits Competition. There are a handful of our Batch 3 Toasted Barrel Bourbon bottles still available at Soapbox. And for me in Georgia, Soapbox is one of the easiest ways to get the K-Luke. So yeah, we'll be looking at that. And thank you for replying, K-Luke. Now on to our Wonderful World of Bourbon pilot episode. We had several comments. First, Dave. Dave is a channel member. You'll hear him comment a lot because he pretty much likes to let you know what he likes and doesn't like. Dave's a big supporter of the channel. Dave says, love the pilot, big fan of Copper and Cask. I have an 8-year bourbon, a 9-year bourbon, double oak bourbon, and a cigar blend. Really like them all. He goes on and talks about some other bourbons, but what was interesting at the end, he tells me, pretty sure Sam Houston 15-year is Barton Juice. He's talking about Barton 1792. The same as Calumet Farms. Well, I had heard that Calumet Farms and Sam Houston was owned by the same people, so we're going to have to find a Calumet 15 and put it up against that Sam Houston. If it's the same juice, the same treatment, the same palate, then yeah, I might be buying Calumet 15. Appalachian Bourbon Society says, enjoyed the pilot, keep up the good work. That's Daniel, if you didn't recognize it. Daniel is a content contributor to Bourbon Riders. Thank you, Daniel. Beard Zone says, great show, I really enjoyed it. Well, thank you, Beard Zone. We hope you will come back for more of them. And Dennis Wheeler says, I enjoyed this format, interesting and informative. Wow. Well, that's what we try to make it, interesting and informative. If we're not doing either, then nobody should watch the show, right? And let's see, on our Which Redwood Empire Will I Choose? Dave, again, Dave Vogelsang says, nice comparison. I like the Devil's Tower so much that I bought a backup bottle. That tells you a lot. I have a lot of Redwood Empire offerings, but have not tried the Grizzly Beast. Well, Dave, I recommend you do. It is a great 100 proof representation of the Redwood Empire. I think it speaks well to their ability to make great whiskey. I'm a fan of the Grizzly Beast. On our review of the new Four Roses single barrels, that was that video that the Appalachian Bourbon Society gave to us and we published. Dave says, nice review and comparison. I bought the 2 lower rye bottles, OESK and OESO, and really like them. OESO, when we did our comparison of the 10 recipes back in late 2023, OESO was in the top 4. I don't remember where OESK was, but I've got to get over to my friend Daniel's place and try. There's 3 new ones out. I've got to try all 3 of them, and maybe I'll have a different opinion of them. Well, that looks like all the comments we have for today's show. Next, I'm back on my soapbox telling you what I think about this whole bourbon boom being over. Okay, now on to the soapbox, and the title today's soapbox, Bourbon or Bust. And you probably know where I'm going with this. Recently, the Wall Street Journal posted an article saying the bourbon boom is over. They stated that the whiskey sales had dropped 1.2% in 2023, and 4% in the first 9 months of 2024. Oh my God! That if you're a stockholder in just about any bourbon company, that's got to concern you, because in the past it's always gone up. It hasn't flatlined or gone down. It has gone up. They also say that liquor sales soared during the pandemic. Now drinkers are cutting back. Well, I get that a lot, not only from viewers and friends that there are cutting back. It seems to be a kind of a national trend to get healthier now, which is always a good thing. So alcohol drinking is being cut back, not necessarily just bourbon, alcohol in general. And we're seeing, even in the bottle shops, some of the bottle shop owners are going at 2025 a little different than 2024. So I'm telling you, the boom, I wouldn't say it's bust, but it's definitely been tuned down. The Lexington Herald out of Lexington, Kentucky, says Brown-Forman is laying off 12% of its staff. In December 2023, the stock was $79.23, and now it's almost half of that. Or in December 2024, a year later, it was worth only $39.71. Also in May, Heaven Hill, another big distributor, offered to buy out long-term employees. A research company, Bernstein Research, I don't know these guys, but this is again in the Lexington Herald, predicts a whiskey surplus within 5 years, possibly leading to a glut of stored barrels. To me, you can boil it down into one simple statement. The bourbon industry has spent too much on expansion, and the supply will soon outstrip demand. Period. That's it. With all the boom, everyone was expanding, making more capacity, filling more new rickhouses, and now there's a downturn, or what I think really is a correction. I don't think it's a bust. I don't think it's a depression in the bourbon industry. I think it's a correction. So what are my thoughts on this real quick? I think bourbon is here to stay. There's no need of hoarding bottles, but change is coming. I think some of the lines at major distilleries could be dropped. I think there will be less variation in popular lines, maybe less finishes, less proofs in a particular line. I think the limited releases will still happen, but maybe now just once a year. Maybe they'll pull that back a little bit. The big thing, and this is one of my predictions, not that I read anywhere, is that ultra-aged bourbons may get released sooner. In other words, 15-year bourbons will become 13, 12 become 10, 10 become 8, so on and so on. I think that there'll be a necessity by them to get rid of some stock, especially some of this older stock, and they'll just put it out as a sooner release, a sooner age stated. I think small and craft distilleries will be hit the hardest, just because a lot of them don't have national distribution, and there's no big payout, no big buyout at the end, like someone gets, like, oh, this distillery is really doing good, and someone like Sazerac comes across and buys them and gives the owners a golden parachute. And I think bottle shops will also feel the pain. Watch for sales on bottles not moving. I think that's going to be a trend in bottle shops, that they're going to react to having stock that's not moving, maybe to not having as many allocated that they can have rewards programs with. So you may see them trying to move stock that's just, in this downturn, not moving. The possible benefits. I think what a good thing that may come out of that is that single barrel store picks, which can be pricey, may become less expensive because these distilleries are going to want to get rid of these barrels at a less expensive or cheaper price, and the bottle shops could get the benefit of that, and you could get the benefit of it possibly with lower prices. I think that's really could benefit the craft and non-distilling producers probably the most. Some of your favorite bourbons may be lower in price as a result of what I think is a brand war coming. Basically, a lot of money is going to be put into advertising and sales, kind of like they do with beer. But now you're going to see brand loyalty in bourbons and whiskeys. And some limited releases may come out as a larger scale just because they want to, rather than a 3,000 or 5,000 bottle distribution, they go 8 or 10 just to dump more whiskey out of their warehouse. So what isn't changing? I don't think the limited release allocations, the highly sought after bourbons are going to change at all. Sorry guys, I think BTAC will still be impossible to find. So that's what I think of this whole bourbon or bust. Bourbon's not going away, and neither are we. So we'll see you next time on Mike's Soapbox. So we hope you enjoyed episode 2 of the wonderful world of bourbon. We'll keep fine-tuning this until we get it right. And as always, never drink and drive. Please drink responsibly, and we'll see you next time on the wonderful world of bourbon. Do you have whiskeys you no longer drink? What? Yeah, I'm throwing these away. I don't drink them anymore. Get the hell off my property. Frankenblend. Does your truck like wheat whiskey more than you do? Whew, that's terrible. Who are you? Frankenblend. Are you dumping bourbon down the drain? What? I'm cleaning my toilet. What the hell are you doing in my house? Frankenblend. Hi, I'm Dr. Mike from the Franklin Blend Institute, and we're here to fix your whiskey. Join us this Thursday night at the Franklin Blend Institute. That should do it. Oh, that's horrible.